You're listening to Sexpert with me, Renee, where we say words like piece of shit, motherfucker, cocksucker, cunt. We get so dirty that even your mother's soap bar can't clean our mouths. You've been warned.
Welcome to Sexpert with me and Renee, where we talk everything sex. Get ready for awkward topics, inappropriate jokes, foul language, and a little bit of education. We are no doctors, just young adults looking to inform our generation about sex so they can live healthier, naughtier lives. I'm Mia Renee, your host. Are you ready? Hi guys, welcome to Sexpert with Mia Renee, where we help our generation lead healthier and naughtier lives. Welcome to episode 3, where we are going to be talking about nudes, nude photos, how to take nudes, how to be courteous when sending and receiving nudes, just naked bodies in general. Welcome to my co-hosts today, Madison and Caroline. How are y'all doing?
Fantastic.
Good. Ready for this.
Absolutely fan-fucking-tastic. That's good to hear. Before we get started, I wanted to make a quick note, a little correction from episode 2. If you didn't listen to episode 2, go listen to it. And myself and our regular guest, Valerie, we revealed our sex playlists to the world. And you can find the links for those via Spotify. But on episode 2, I gave a shout out to my good friend Calvin and his new podcast with his dad called Explaining Shit to My Dad. And I accidentally called Calvin an aspiring comic book artist. And he is not. And I know he's not. And I listened to the episode. And as I was listening to it, and I heard myself say it. And the voice in the back of my head was like, no! Because he's an aspiring comic book writer. Two completely fucking different things, especially since I'm a writer. Like, I'm not a fucking artist. So he's an aspiring comic book writer, not an artist. In fact, I think he's even looking for artists. So if you like comics and you're good at art, hit Calvin up. You can find him on Facebook at Calvin's Comics, and you can also find his podcast on iTunes, Explaining Shit to My Dad. Which that mainly focuses on comics and modern pop culture, but it's very funny because his dad's sarcastic as fuck and doesn't give a fuck, and Calvin is obviously very passionate about this so it's just two completely opposite personalities put together, and it's beautiful. So sorry about that, Calvin. I put a minute into my podcast to make sure we corrected that for you, because I would never want to have people thinking that you're an aspiring artist when you are in fact an aspiring writer. So
Now, I wouldn't want him to think that's offensive, though, because writing is a form of art.
Oh,
you could say.
yes, but at the same time, it's two completely different things. And for me, it's kind of if I was putting, a lot of effort into something, I would want to get credited for what I was doing. So,
No,
he's more of a writer, because, I met him in a journalism conference. He's a writer, period. I think he designed the cover art for his podcast. He has 2 different versions of the cover art. So he's a talented artist as well, but he's not an aspiring comic book artist. He's an aspiring comic book writer. And I look cute as fuck tonight. I'm sorry, I'm staring at myself in my mirror as I talk. I'm damn, Mia, get at it. It's been self-esteem boost the last couple weeks. I don't even know. But today we're talking about nudes, and in Sex Today is our first segment. I found a really interesting article online published in the last couple of days about this Instagram account. Now, since this Instagram account went up, got really popular in the news, it has since then been taken down. Instagram went all into the account, was take your shit down. So, what I'm about to talk about isn't currently relevant anymore, but it was a really, really cool concept. So, I found 2 different articles in 2 different places. I'm not going to read them verbatim because it's a pretty general concept and I don't want to devote too much time to it. I just thought it was really cool and really time relevant. But I'll list both of the articles both in the show notes below. One is via NetShark and the other is via Motherboard. One of them is a British or possibly an Australian website. I don't know why I try to explain myself like this. But the Instagram was called Tramps Against Trump. And the general concept was for people to, it was getting people to vote. And it wasn't getting people to vote against Trump, but they were obviously against Trump. So, and obviously the people supporting this Instagram account were probably voting against Trump as well, because they share that similar political ideology. But it was called Tramps Against Trump, and the idea was you would take a photo of yourself at an election booth, like not necessarily voting, but just outside of the poll. Just take a picture and send it to them, like private message it to them on their Instagram account, and in return they would send you back a nude photo privately. So you would be rewarded, and you would be able to request, like, I don't know if there were males involved with this, but you were able to request like like a particular type of woman, like her sexuality, like if you wanted like a lesbian or like a bi woman or a pansexual or a queer or a straight woman, like you could like request that. And I think there were a couple of other things you could request as well. And it was eventually taken down because Instagram was, the women would post photos on the Instagram account to like encourage people, like, you know, partially nude photos to encourage people to, you know, message them with pictures outside the poll booth. And none of these photos were showing anything, like they weren't showing nipples, they weren't showing like vagina, like it was tastefully covering, but Instagram made them take it down, which I personally think is very unfair, because I see many like partial nudes on Instagram all the time by people that are largely followed and by people that are not largely followed. So I don't know if they were taken down because they were like directly affiliating themselves against a candidate, or maybe it was because all the women involved with this were sex workers. So they were all like sex workers that were involved with this. But the women who were the woman who was in charge, her like pseudonym was Jessica Rabbit, I believe. Oh shit. Let me see. Yep, Jessica Rabbit. Yep, that was her pseudonym after, you know, the Disney character. And, you know, she said, you know, we're using naked people on the internet to make a change and get people excited about something. Because what better than naked people to encourage other people to do things?
Sex
important.
sells.
Right? And they said, the women, you know, all agreed that whoever becomes president will have a direct effect on what women can and can't do with their bodies. So they felt that it directly correlated sending nudes, you know, freely to people for voting with their cause, you know, and the fact that they are sex workers. And I mean, I think it's amazing. I think it's admirable for what they were doing. She said, let's see. Yeah, so she said, we're sexualized by audiences, by men, and by the media. If we engage with it and send nudes, we lose. If we don't, then we still lose. In the end, we're consenting adults who are choosing to participate in this campaign. So I think it was a great way to become politically active, to encourage others to become politically active. Who thought it would, you know, end up being encouraged by nudes? But hey, whatever gets people to the polls fucking works. Like, you know, fucking amen. Like, congrats. I'm going to link the two articles below. I think at least... No, both of them include, like, images from the Instagram that were put on the Instagram publicly, if you're interested to see what those images were like, especially since the Instagram has since been taken down. Like I said, they're tastefully done nudes. Like, there's no nip, there's no vag. So, I don't know how it's better, and technically it's not the vagina you'd be seeing, but you're not seeing anything down there. But that was our sex today. I thought that was really interesting. And now we can just talk about nudes for the rest of the show. So I asked Madison and Caroline to come up with some of their best tips and tricks for taking nudes. And I'm interested to hear them. Please enlighten me.
Well, I think the best time for me when I take them is, like, right when I first wake up in the morning. Because, like, you, like, haven't eaten anything, and I have, like, a hidden six-pack. Like, it's deep in there, and I can only see it in the morning. But, I don't know, that's like my prime time. And so then I'll just take a bunch and save them up.
I think you honestly, like Beyonce says, you gotta be feeling yourself. Like, you can't not do that. You gotta be into it too, or else it's not gonna show up very well.
Definitely. Yeah, so in my dorm room, this past year, like, I had my bed lofted, but it was right by the window, and I got such good fucking lighting. Like, it was damn good. Some of my best nudes were in there. And I sleep a lot of times in a long, like, dress shirt. So, like, it's easy access, like, unbutton.
Get a little low.
Yeah. And, like, you know, play around with blankets and stuff like that. So, what angles do you guys find that are, like, best for, like, getting butt or, like, boob or, like, full body or...
I'm always down for, like, sitting on the mirror. Or not on the mirror, on the, like, countertop. Like, one leg up.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
I like the, like, twist, like, if you're laying down. And you kind of, like,
to get the
roll
butt.
over, like, slims the waist.
I'm actually going to pull up my nudes.
Yeah, let me look back
Where
and
do you-
make sure, see what I'm doing.
Where do you guys store your nudes?
Honestly, no one gets on my phone. It's locked, so they're right there.
Yeah, my library.
Oh, see, I have, like, a special app. And I refuse to pay for the app. So I have to, like, go in and clean my nudes out sometimes. Because it won't let me store... But it helps me get rid of the older ones. My most recent nude was taken in a Waffle House bathroom.
I also think, like,
What? What? Can we go back
hang
to that?
on.
What? That's a good one.
Um,
I was feeling myself that night
Apparently.
in the Waffle House. It's those waffles. They just get me every time. And they put the pecans in them. Shit. Yeah. But, yeah, what were you going to say?
I was just gonna say, like, I think also leaving some to the imagination also helps, like, not, like, full-on nudity, but, like, partial, like, maybe just your underwear or something, like...
Like, ever since I got my nipples pierced, I'm always, like, wearing, like, a
Same!
Look at
Bro! Did you
Look at me.
see, for National Send a Nude Day, it was, like, a trending hashtag on Twitter a couple weeks ago. So I tweeted, not a full-on nude, but it was, like, a thin tank top without a bra, and you could see my piercings. And, oh, wait, all three of us have our nipples pierced now. Woo! Turn up. Have you played around with that any? Yet, Madison?
Yeah, absolutely, they're fully healed.
It's like, it's suddenly, like, once you get your nipples pierced, like,
Oh my gosh.
for me at least, like, it's like they're dressed. So suddenly you're so much more comfortable taking pictures of your tits and sharing them with any fucking buddy. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I
posted them on
was
Twitter.
I was at, like, a dress fitting. Not a dress fitting. I'm not getting married. Sorry, just disclaimer. But, like, I was at a costume fitting last night for this project I'm in. And my friend just decided to pull down my bra for whatever reason. And she's like, you didn't stop me. And I'm like, yeah, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, there were, like, 20 people in that room who saw my tit. And I was like, whatever. Like, like, I'm just, like, I don't care anymore. Like, it feels so much more dressed now. And I don't know. And it's so much fun to play around with.
Honestly, like, it kind of scares me. Like, I really want to go around without a bra on, but it also kind of scares me. I'm like, oh no, maybe I don't want to.
That's what gave me the confidence, too. Like, I look so forward to not having to wear a bra, because, like, then they show through. Or I wear bralettes all the time.
Yeah, I haven't really worn a bra since, like, ever. I'm glad everyone's catching up.
You never, like, transitioned from the Barbie, like, flat bra to, like, a Victoria's Secret bra. You never got that transition. I think we all kind of have. Are you sending kisses to your boyfriend right now?
No.
I just caught you in the act. She just sent an air kiss, and he is sitting right there.
No, he left. He just walked in the room.
Like, why is he not on here talking about nudes with us right
I
now?
asked
He's
him.
gonna be in the room.
I was like, so what are your preferences?
Hey, that's good. That's good. Have you guys ever used emojis, like, with your nude pictures to, like, cover your nipples or cover... I know you have, Carolines. I've seen some of them. But, like, or to cover anything else. Like, I did one time with the alien emoji, like the alien head. That's my cutest nude
It's
ever.
creative.
Like, just TBH. You take it on Snapchat and then you add the little emojis in.
I also think that having, like, your partner I think that is so, like, take them for you.
Have you ever done nudes on a Polaroid, though?
I just got Polaroid film, and that was the first thing that he said whenever I got
Caroline looks like she just, like, reached, like, nirvana. She's never heard of this before. But the thing with taking nudes on a Polaroid since the flash is so bright, you can't take it like a selfie. You have to have someone take it for you. So the nudes I took on a Polaroid, let me see, I'll just show them to you. But like the nudes I took on a Polaroid,
It's brilliant.
I literally went to my friend's dorm, which was down the hall from me, and was like, listen, I just had sex. I have these new hickeys. Can you take some nudes of me? And she was like, sure. And so I laid on her floor and got naked. And she took nudes of me with my Polaroid. And I'm looking for it right now. Oh, yeah, here they are. Let me pull them out. Some of them I don't like. But Polaroids are like, they're like so like antique. And they show like all your imperfections. But like, it really highlighted the hickeys, which you cannot see. Oh, you can see them in this picture. They're on my tits.
Oh,
But
damn.
like... Yeah.
10 out of 10.
They're looking
That's
at the
so
picture right now,
fun.
audience. And there were a couple of other ones too, but that one's my favorite one, especially with my tattoo in it. But
I like your pose.
yeah, really sexual. Thank you.
But like with one tip I would say, just find what works best for you, like with your body. Like everyone's gonna have their most confident feature that they're really, into and that, they like the best. So find that for you. I mean, it might not be the same as your best friend or whatever, but find
But
what
then,
works.
like, how do you respond then? Like, because I've had guys be like, why don't you ever take enough, like, more butt pics than you do, like boob pics? Like, how do you respond, like, with that per se?
Honestly, I would tell them if they don't like my nudes, then
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, pretty much.
Say, I'm already blessing
Usually
you.
my response is, I do
Hashtag
take butt
blessed.
pics, and I've sent them to you. Like, what do you mean I don't take butt pics? I have great butt pics. Thank you very much. What about, like, let's see, we have angles. Do you ever use props or anything? Like, besides emojis?
Like a blanket.
Yeah, like, things to cover up, to, like, be
Like-
more...
Or, I mean, even toys if you got them, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
Come over
Yeah.
later.
We can have fun.
There's a dildo on my shoulder.
Shoulder.
So here's, like, the next question. How do you get over, like, being shy when sending nudes? I know a lot of girls, for instance, don't like to take pictures of, like, their, like, vagina area, their lips, their clit, like, and guys love those. Holy fuck. But a lot of girls are very self-conscious when taking those. And of course, no one should ever be pressured in sending a picture that they don't want to send. I'm going to say that right now. But if you are looking that, you want to send a picture like this to, a guy that you want to please him, you want to send this to him, but you don't know how to take it, or, like, you're scared to take it because it's, for most women, it's just kind of like, look at my folds. Like, it's not like, not like super attractive to us. So we're just kind of like, we're going in blind. So, what would be some of your, tips? You got to go in confident. But, like, what are the best angles? Like, how would you do that?
I'd say work up to it. Like, don't start off, warm yourself up and then keep them for yourself and see, like, how you feel comfortable with it and then send it later. Like,
do you, like, find that sometimes the best time to take nudes for you is when you're horny? Because a lot of times that helps me out a lot because I'm already in it and I want to take pictures.
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Fill yourself.
Fill yourself up. Don't be like a desert down there when you take it. But, okay, so one thing that girls a lot of times deal with, though, are pressure from guys to send nudes. And, I mean, there's actually, like, a controversy. Some, like, 13-year-old Viner star shit kid, like, messaged his fans on Facebook, like, demanding nudes from them. He's 13. 13. I don't think I'd send a nude at 13. Well, no, I hadn't sent a nude at 13. So, like, how, like, because for adult women, usually we're more familiar with nudes, we've sent nudes, but, like, for, like, girls that are 15, 16, it can be a huge hassle, especially in high school, when you really can't trust any teenage guy with nudes. They're going to send them around. I remember one time, I have a really good guy friend here, locally, and a couple years ago, he brought up, like, one of my nudes, and this was before I was, like, super outspoken about sex and sexuality and, like, nudes and whatnot. I was like 15 or 16 when he brought this up, and he was like, do you send nudes to people? And I probably was like, no. And he said, well, like, I received nudes of yours. I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah, a couple months ago, like, these nudes of yours, I received them from so-and-so. And, like, I knew exactly which nudes he was talking about, but the guy he received them from was not the guy I sent them to.
Oh my god.
So, shit like that happens. And I wrote a blog post about this, like, in the last 6 months. If you go to mereneecole.com, I think it's titled, We're Taking Nudes and You Should Too. I kind of addressed that problem a bit. But, you know, for teenage girls, it can be a struggle. So what would you tell them? Yeah, silence.
I was actually reading up on this a little bit and looked at, like, you know, how to take tasteful nudes. It's like an article, and you can share it with me later if you want. But one of it is like, consider the Kanye rule. And apparently in one of his songs, it was like, the quote was, when you take the picture, cut off your face and cover up the tattoo by the waist.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a really good rule. Like, you know, boys are going to be little shits,
Yeah.
and it's going to happen. It is. You're going to break up or, you know, not talk to them, and they're going to be like, look what I got, bro.
Yeah, and that was my mistake.
You know,
I used my face. But I was like 15. I didn't know any better. But, yeah, definitely, when you're sending nudes to someone you don't know, don't use your face. Don't put your face
Still rarely use my face.
Oh, I do. I'll, like, half my nudes have my face in them. I don't give a fuck anymore. But, like, but tattoos can be a different story. Because, like, my one tattoo shows in a lot of my nudes. So, like, but there are apps you can download to, like, airbrush that out. That you could, right? There are. I said that like I knew, but I figured there's an app for that, right? So, if you're ever super self-conscious, definitely do that. If you're ever, though, like, you have, like, a bad feeling about sending a nude to someone, or you don't know if you, just don't do it. If you have a gut feeling, or you feel uncomfortable taking nudes, you know, don't do it. I mean, definitely, I think everyone should try taking nudes in their lifetime just for themselves, just to help, and, you know, encourage your sexuality and your libido, and just to be able to, like, appreciate your body. Because when you feel good about yourself, I think you should take pictures of yourself. That's why we take selfies. Nudes are like that, except not your face. Like, you know, you're feeling good, you snap a picture, you look at it later, damn, I'm hot. Like, it helps boost your self-confidence, which is super important, in my opinion.
And
My mom... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
My motto going through high school, because I knew everyone was super childish about it, I made sure I looked so good in those. So if anybody else saw them, which that happened times than it should have.
And no shame in editing. Like, not like full on, don't make yourself look like a completely different person, but like filters and all that. Don't be afraid to use that either. I do it all the time.
Definitely. So this is along the lines, we've been talking basically about nude courtesy this entire time, but along the lines of nude courtesy, how would you ask for nudes? How do you ask for nudes? What do you do with nudes after you receive them? How do you respond to nudes? How do you respond to unsolicited nudes? All these, because I have received nudes from people that I did not want and did not ask for.
I woke up...
I have woken up to nudes so many times.
To penises.
I remember one Thanksgiving, I think I was like 14, I woke up and it was just a dick pic. And I was like, what the fuck? Happy Thanksgiving!
I am not thankful for that.
Justin Bieber sing in New York. Like...
I was like, don't ever Snapchat me again. Like, I didn't want
that. Yeah, exactly. It was probably the same guy.
I mean, the most important thing is feeling comfortable with the person that you're sending them to. I mean, that there's really no other answer to that. If you're not comfortable with them, don't send them. If you're uncomfortable with them and they ask you in like a weird, creepy way, don't send them. If you're uncomfortable asking them and they respond, or maybe they're uncomfortable, you know, just listen to them. Be understanding.
Yeah, definitely. So then, like, how would you ask for nudes? Obviously, like, a lot of times the time for nude comes around when you're, like, kind of steamy or, like, maybe already kind of sexting a bit. But, like, how would you possibly bring about the idea of just, you know, like, maybe we should send nudes sometime? Like, how do you think you'd come up with that? Because that's an awkward one for me. Like, how do you just bring that up into a conversation? Like, just, like, not even with, like, a long-distance anything. But just, like, It's just sexting in general. It's just so awkward sometimes if you're not into it. So,
If you're not into it, you don't have to do it.
yeah, definitely. But like if you are looking though to sext with someone,
Just kind of start off, and if they back away, start off slow.
start off like just be like definitely ask their permission. If you're wanting to send a nude, you should definitely ask and be like, "Hey, can I send you this picture of," or just say this nude picture of me. So don't just send it to them, but like if you're just trying to like start sending nudes with them, you kind of need to work up to it, I believe. So like guys that like try to talk to girls and get nudes from them immediately, that's very ineffective, and vice versa. Well, maybe not so much vice versa. It just depends on the guy, but definitely I think that if you're hitting it off with this person you're talking to, regardless of their gender, if you're hitting it off, if you're talking, if you possibly have a little bit of a sexual like flirtation going on, or some kind of flirtation that initiates the fact that you're more than friends, like, or more than platonic, you may say, "Hey, listen, I have this idea. I love to take nude photos. They make me feel good, but I like to make other people feel good too. What's your opinion on sending nudes?"
That's slick.
That's slick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just came up with that.
That's a good one.
What if you're like, so do you want to see? Like, you're kind of already, back and forth.
Right, if you're kind of like talking about it, or like kind of sexting with words, like telling each other what you want to do. Just, do you want to see what I look like right now?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to see what would go inside of you? Like,
Is this male or female
I mean,
perspective?
it's whatever you want it to be, really. Okay, head tilt.
I think another part of courtesy, like, not maybe a different aspect of courtesy for this is like encourage your other friends, like not like pressure them, but like if they're seeing them and they're a little self-conscious, be like, you look great, you're awesome. Don't like bash people about it either.
Oh, God,
I mean,
no.
because everyone's like,
Exactly.
no, I don't do
so,
that.
So, like, following along the lines
Yeah, you
of
do.
nude courtesy. Like, say you receive someone's nudes from someone that you know. So, say, like, Caroline, if I received your nudes from or someone.
What?
Oh my god.
That was
too
a
far.
little inappropriate, but that was the first like mutual connection besides Madison that I thought of. So I don't know. So say I receive your nudes from some mutual connection. Like, what would be the courtesy there? Like, would you personally, for you two, what would you do?
I'd want them to ask my permission before like sharing.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
exactly.
But if it's already been sent, like, I'd be like, can you tell me where you got that from? Don't be hateful, because then they might not respond. But like, I'd like to know where you received that, when you received that, so I can find the source.
But would you tell the person who's in the nude photos? Would you contact them and be like, "Listen, I just received these photos of you from someone."
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
How would you like go about addressing that though? Would you send the photos and be like, "Hey, I just received these," or would you be more gentle about it?
Well, I actually had somebody do that to me, I think a year ago, maybe two. Somebody told me that, like, one of their friends had seen one of mine. It's a big whole mess. I don't really know exactly what happened, because I never got the full story, which makes me feel a little uncomfortable.
Right.
But I look hot in them anyway, so I don't care, like Caroline said. And I was really, I kind of wish that I had been told earlier, but I was really glad that I was told, because, it made me more aware, and a little, I was hurt at the time and very angry, but, it made me more aware of who I send them to. Like, obviously I only send them to one person now, but,
Yeah.
like, after that situation, I was more conscious about who was receiving those and what they looked like.
So, on the terms of, like, sharing. So, I know myself personally, like, I wouldn't care if I sent nudes to someone and they shared it with other people as long as I knew about it. As long as they asked me in advance if they could, like, show it to their friend. Like, I'm not saying, like, mass text it to their friend group or family, but, like, just show it, like, hey, do you mind if I show my friend your tits? I'd be like, sure. Like, I don't care.
Right.
But, like, what are your opinions on sharing? Because I know a lot of people probably would not want theirs shared. I've gotten to the point now where I don't give a fuck. So, like, it's completely different for me. But how are you two on that?
I mean, if I wasn't in, like, the relationship kind of standpoint.
Yeah.
Like,
That makes it
you in
different, too,
this
because I'm single,
situation,
yeah.
I wouldn't care, but at the same time, I don't know, I'd probably be a little more uncomfortable if it was, like, a significant other.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just bragging about it, but there's, like...
Like she said, I'm in a relationship, so I wouldn't want, him, I don't know, that's very strange to be in a relationship and he would want to, share that with, I don't think that would ever happen, but, I posted some on Tumblr, so I'm completely fine with people, whatever, I took them, I look hot.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Everyone's going to be trying to find your Tumblr now.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had people, like, random numbers from texting accounts be like, oh, I found your Tumblr, here's pictures of you.
Oh my god.
And it was harassment. It's, like,
Oh
it
my
went on for, like,
gosh.
about a month.
What?
And, like, pictures, like, from years, like, so far
But have
back.
you ever
It
even
was
put
so
your
cute.
face in them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My face is in almost all.
Oh, really?
I don't even know, man.
The ones I've seen, I don't think
mean,
it has been. Maybe.
The ones you've seen, probably not.
Yeah.
I've tamed it down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never even get on Tumblr anymore. But I did want to bring up something. Was it you, Mia, that someone had sent you nasty hate about, like, your boobs or something, and you were like, I don't care, like, I think I look great. Like, that's what I mean by encouraging people. Don't down people. If you got something bad to say, don't say it. Like,
Exactly. Like,
that's
if
people's
you
self-esteem.
receive, for instance, like, this goes on with the courtesy, if you receive a nude and it's not what you were expecting, or it's not, that impressive to you, you're not going to say that. You're not going to, like, laugh at it. How, for instance, do you respond to a nude, for instance, that you received that may not be what you're expecting and it doesn't turn you on? How would you respond to that? Like, because you're not going to be like, oh, daddy, like, if it's not, like, super, like, effective, but you don't want to hurt their feelings. You're not, you don't want to, like, straight out just tell them. You don't want to even be like that. But, would you pretend? Would you pretend to a certain extent because you don't want it to be too, like, dramatic if you're not that into it?
Yeah, I'd probably play along.
Yeah, just to keep it flowing. Yeah.
And just to, like, that's like a vulnerable place.
Yeah.
Exactly. You never insult someone's nude.
I would not
Ever.
want to. Like, that's one of the most, that's private.
That, and you never insult someone naked. Like, I heard a story about, this is really petty shit from high school, but I heard a story recently about a girl, this is while we were still in high school, who went to blow a guy and had, like, a really small dick. And she laughed, like, in his face and refused to blow him.
Oh, I heard about that.
Okay, so we all know the story, and it's not acceptable. Shit like that is not fucking acceptable. That's not okay. It's very vulnerable, and it's not okay. No. And so you don't want to do that to people's nudes either. People are taking nudes, and when they send them out to people, people are very timid to do so. Unless you're me and you're just a slut. So, like, you just send them out, you're putting this vulnerable part of you out of there that, like, isn't there publicly for everyone to see. And you're trusting the people that you're sending it to. So it's very important that you don't make fun of people's naked bodies or nudes, that you don't share their nudes without their permission, or share their nudes at all. It's important that they can trust you with their pictures of their naked bodies. You're not showing it off to people without their permission. You're not making fun of it. You're not doing anything, like, what else would you do that would be super disrespectful that I'm not thinking of? Is there anything else besides showing and making fun of?
No, I mean, would you want that done to you?
Exactly. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Something.
Yeah, like
Something
the
like
thing
that.
we've been taught since like kindergarten or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the day, do you guys take nudes for yourselves? So listen, I know it's different because you guys are in relationships. You have someone who you are regularly able to be sexual with. I have myself. So like, so do you find yourself taking, just in general, just like more nudes for yourself? Do you find yourself taking more nudes for your partner? Do you find yourself just taking, not necessarily more nudes, but do you find yourself happier when you take nudes? Or about your body? Or just, how does that whole flow go? Because I find that, like, I have a lot of my nudes saved, and I send people a lot of my saved nudes because it's completely and entirely, what's the word? I just blinked on it.
In the moment.
Yeah, like if they want a nude, I'm at McDonald's, I gotta be at Waffle House to take nudes. We have established this. So, like, already have something in my convenience, that's the word, to send. But I've saved all these nudes because I like them, and they make me feel good about myself. And I take nudes, and if I take a good nude, it makes me feel really good about myself. And so, ultimately, I take nudes for me. I take them for me, and since I feel good about myself, I'm perfectly fine with people seeing them, and I don't care. Like, I don't care when or how or if they see them. Except maybe my dad. That'd be a little weird. But for y'all, like, how are you with taking nudes? Do you find they're very empowering? Do you take more for your significant other, for yourself? How are you on that?
I feel like I take them almost entirely for myself. Like, I don't think my significant other has ever, like, blatantly even asked for one.
Yeah.
I take a bunch of them, and I'm like, oh, well, you'll probably like this. I mean, I used to send them over Snapchat, but, I mean, this is a person I trust, so I'm like, here, keep it, save it in your library for
Set it as your screensaver.
when you're lonely.
Print it on a
But
business
no,
card.
I think it's definitely for me.
Yeah.
I just got back from being long distance, so I really, it was something that really kind of connected me in a way that I couldn't be, from being 4 hours away, from my love. And so whenever I would take them, sometimes, I would take them for myself. I think that's very important. You should see, that you look hot and you look great, all that. And, appreciate your own body as much as anybody else's. And, but I think that's really what, helped, sex isn't everything, but like that really kept things going when I was 4 hours away and hadn't seen him in like 3 weeks.
Definitely. And long distance can be hard, and that's when sexting and nudes are great to come in.
Oh, God, yes.
So I know we kind of addressed this before. We didn't formally address it. How do we respond to receiving shame for nudes? So there was this guy that I talked to for a very short amount of time, and there's a point where we started talking about nudes, and I was like, oh, did you want to see any? Like, I just asked him that straight up, because we've been talking about it, and he goes, I mean, no, like, we haven't, like, like, he said something like, I feel like sending nudes for no reason, like, doesn't have a purpose. And I was like, yeah, I guess. I just figured I'd ask because we were talking and I have some. Like, why not? And he was like, yeah, I feel like, if you send them without a purpose, it's, I don't know. He's like, he said something along the lines of, like, it doesn't look super great if you're sending them without a purpose. Like, he said some things, like, along the lines of, like, my self-esteem or something. And I was just kind of like, so I said back, I'm like, I don't know what you're thinking, but I take nudes for me because I like my body. Like, he said something like, if you're sharing them for no purpose, like, what's that saying about you? That's what he basically said to me. And I was like, it's saying that I like my body and I'm proud of my body. And that, like, because of that, I am willing and want you to see my body. And I can't remember what he said back, but it was just... It was a really weird conversation for me because I've never had a guy say that. And I was just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, how do you respond to getting weird shame for nudes?
I've never, like, directly received anything.
Yeah.
Like, negatively towards it. But at the same time, I'm, like, hesitant. Like, I don't know how I'd respond. I feel like I'd be super like almost embarrassed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of how it made me feel. It made me feel kind of embarrassed, and like it was like my self-worth, I think, that he was like referring to, and I was just like, how it made me feel. It made me feel like he made me feel like I shouldn't have offered that, and I shouldn't have ever offered that, and that I wasn't like, I had no self-worth because I offered that. And so I basically told him to fuck off, because that's just how I am. But it's just so odd to get weird. That's like the weirdest response I've ever gotten to nudes ever in my life. I've never gotten that. So I felt like that was something we should touch on, because especially for women compared to men, there's a lot of shame around just, our bodies are super sexualized, like way more than men's are. And so taking nudes for women is a lot more stressful than men, because we're more worried about them getting spread. We're more worried about getting shame for them. I mean, like, a guy's dick pic can get spread around a high school and nobody will give a fuck. But as soon as a girl's nude gets spread around high school, it becomes like this whole travesty, and people are sending it to everyone and talking about it, but a guy's dick is the complete, like, opposite. And as much as it shouldn't be that way, it is, and that scares a lot of girls out of taking nudes. And it can scare guys out of taking nudes too, because they're afraid of, for a lot of guys, the last thing they want is judgment on their penis. And I totally get that. So it's just a huge trust issue with sending nudes, and you just need to be very courteous when receiving them. And I think into adulthood, people learn that, and they learn that they need to be, like, acceptable and, like, nice when receiving and sending nudes. But teenagers aren't, and they're assholes. And I'm sorry if you're a teenager and listening to this and are still in high school and have to worry daily about sending nudes. It's ridiculous.
Actually, with the guy thing, I found an article. It was on Wide Walls.
Oh, wow.
Called The Intimacy of the Male Nude, and this woman did this whole photography, like, photo session of, like, the nude male, and it's really cool. It's a great read. She basically talks about how, like, women are very sexualized, and it oftentimes, like, the men get forgotten, and it's kind of looked down upon to see, like, the male naked body, but, like, I don't know, but the statue of David is pretty fine, so I don't,
Amen,
whatever.
Sister. Yeah, all these articles will be listed below in the show notes, too. So Madison will email those to me, and we'll get them up for everyone to see. But moving along, because we're slowly but surely running out of time, Madison, let's introduce your new segment. What is it?
It is Funny, Weird, Strange Erotica.
Featuring Madison.
Featuring Madison. Okay, so I had done a little research on this, and I found this guy, and, well, really his Tumblr I found first, and it's Chip Zdarsky, and he actually, like, writes these in poem form almost.
Yeah.
And his Tumblr is zdarsky.tumblr.com, so I will be reading one of his little excerpts. And I'm going to try really hard not to laugh. It is named, are you ready? It is named The Petals Fall Twice.
He's romantic.
Felt... All right, ready?
Yeah.
Felt right. She slowly licked and tickled his peenie. And because she was so smart, combined with the words in her head, like an expressions explorer of old world. Slickled, she thought. I'm slicking his peenie. No matter how brilliant her wordplay, the result was the same. Gary's peenie was now erect. It felt like a quality bar of peenie-scented soap in her hands.
What?
Without warning, she gave a swift headbutt, because men like that. All men like that. Whoa, Melinda, that's good stuff. That's the stuff that makes me forget about my problems. Melissa derived satisfaction from this comment. Despite the mangled pronunciation of her name, she could feel her horny levels rising to 30%, and her hoo-ha was getting right slimy with anticipation of participation. Gary, me need sex now inside, please. Damn, Melissa thought. I wish there was a better way to say that. Gary was only too eager to comply. He wrenched his peenie away from Melissa's grubby paws and thrust inside her hoo-ha with a thunderous orgasm.
Oh my god, okay.
She was pregnant, but that could be dealt with in the morning.
That's what happens, actually, for all of you that had abstinence-only sex education.
But that could be dealt with in the morning, provided she was still alive. Outstanding stuff, Mulaney, Gary chortled. I know I could just go to sleep now, but I would like to continue satisfying you. Sans peenie. Gary nudged downward, and his peenie was nowhere to be seen. What in have you mind? Eee! Just sit back and relax, kitty cat. Melissa did just that, falling back onto the bed and stretching her perfect 7 body. Eager for Gary's attention, she started working his magic. He started working his magic immediately, and she felt an all too familiar heat rising from her breast. Gary was crouched over top of her and pooping all over her unbelievably average body. Gary, so stinky. That's just the poop, baby. Let it just work its magic. I can't see anything. That's because you're blind now, Mulaney. All right, first of all, can we
I have
just...
to go for a couple of minutes and do a couple of things, and then I'll be back.
Can we just go... Okay, I'd like to point out a couple of things. Some of these words are very strange. Also, he never calls her the same name twice.
I like his use of the word peenie. I envisioned a micro penis every time.
I thought
I guess that's why it's
a
going.
flower, like a peony.
It was like very poetic, except for the fact that I think he made up words.
Yes.
Like peenie and
Slickled. Slicklid.
That's what it was, yeah.
Slicklid.
I like the pooping part. That was my favorite.
What? By the time I got to that point, I was like, what is happening?
I loved it. I like when he said, I want to satisfy you sans peenie.
Yes.
Like, you gotta be culturally adept to understand that, so. It's not just erotica for anybody. Because of that one word. That's it.
That's because you're blind now, Mildred.
Mildred Kitty, perfect 7 average body.
Yes, that was great.
Was it her that said, like, need you and me now, but said it like a child? What?
Yes.
That was, I could go on a tangent about that dehumanizing women, but whatever, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, it's whatever, it's still funny.
That was hilarious. That was good job.
So, and I looked at his Tumblr a little more closely, and it turns out it's mainly just a lot of anime and comic book
that
stuff.
explains it.
Hentai.
Yeah, but he did this whole session called One Page, and it's a whole bunch of, like, hilarious erotica. So.
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
It was very funny.
Thank you so much. Tune in next time for Weird Erotica with Madison. I don't know if we can top pooping peenies and whatever that fucking word was. That was hilarious.
Slicklid.
Oh my, I feel like he was, what's his face? Carol Lewis there for a second. Except Carol Lewis was very perverse. So we're running out of time a bit, but we're going to finish everything. We're going to run over just a couple of minutes. We'll be fine. So our next segment, of course, is emails. We're getting towards the end of everything. We have 2 new emails. We're only going to read one. The other one we're going to address in a later show. We're not going to be addressing it in our next couple of shows. But our most recent email is from Juliana, unless it's pronounced Juliana. I'm sorry if I did not get either of those correct. She is from Clyde. And she said, I'm wondering about shaving. What am I supposed to do? Do people actually do shapes? What is normal?
I don't do shapes. I know a friend that does shapes, but I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
And
Sounds tedious.
There's nothing
Yeah.
really normal when it comes to shaving. You can choose to shave, you can choose not to shave. I personally shave everything because it's easier.
Same.
I feel like shapes are probably easier if you're waxing or having someone else do it for you. But
My friend
yeah,
said that she spends hours in the shower. She loves it. So, I mean, whatever.
Whatever toots your horn, man.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
whatever works. So one of her questions was, what am I supposed to do? So I'm just gonna do a quick little walkthrough of shaving your hoo-ha, as our wonderful Tumblr erotica man said. And just so everyone has a general idea, if it's a huge demand, we can do an episode on shaving, do's and don'ts and stuff, in the sense of just staying healthy and not scarring yourself, because there really is no perfect way to shave. So if you have a full bush down there, I would definitely recommend trimming it first, so you don't fuck shit up. So that's your first step.
Small scissors.
You want to trim. Secondly, I would never, personally myself, some people find it works well, but I don't use an actual, I use, an electric razor. I don't use, just a razor blade that I use to shave my legs with. I have sensitive skin. Those don't shave longer hair very well, if you want to grow it out. They shave almost too close. I actually have scars from shaving with those. On, not on the vagina, so it doesn't look like herpes, but I do have scarring from shaving, because those razors are very intense, and they do shave almost a little too close for comfort. If you want a really smooth finish, I would suggest waxing, either waxing yourself or getting yourself waxed. Waxing is healthier, period, but it's just up to you. I would suggest getting an electric razor. I can link the one below in our show notes that I use. It has multiple heads, including, I forget what it's called, but the type of, not razor, but the type of thing that literally plucks hair from you, but it's electric. It hurts like a bitch, but it's good to use if you need it. I forget what they're called. I don't know. But it comes with multiple heads, plus functions to use on the heads to trim. So it works as a trimmer and a razor. And I usually shave dry instead of in the shower, because my skin is less, I'm using electric razor anyway, so I don't need soap or anything, but your skin is less vulnerable to being cut. It's less, warm, it's less soft, it's less vulnerable to being cut. And I usually shave after the shower, though, so you can have it exfoliated and cleaned, and I'll let it completely dry. I'll make sure my body is completely dry before going into shave with an electric razor. So there is no, right or wrong with shaving. Just don't hurt yourself, don't cut yourself. The first time I tried shaving in the shower, I passed out, because it was a warm shower and I didn't trim first, and my head was up and down, so my blood pressure went all wonky and I ended up passing out in the shower. So be careful about that. I find it easiest just to sit down though and shave, and if I need to, use a mirror to shave to make sure I have all of the hair up around in areas that I can't see as well. So that's the basic gist. Trim, shave. I would suggest using an electric razor. And the one I use has different razors to get closer shaves. So I kind of do it in not parts, but I guess levels. I get my initial shave, and then I use the razor with the closer shave. So I get the closest shave I can get with the razor, and I've had no problems with it. It doesn't cut me. It's nice. It's eco-friendly because it's rechargeable and it lasts forever. So I'll link that below. Do you guys have any other input on that? So if no one else has anything to say, then we'll move on to our final segment, which is reviews. If you listen on iTunes, please leave a rate and a review, both of them, for us, because it's the only way that we get boosted in the iTunes store. And we would like to be new and noteworthy within the first 8 weeks of being a new podcast. We're already 2 or 3 weeks in. So go leave a rate and review in iTunes, not App Store, but Music Store for podcasts. So our review that we're going to be reading out loud this week is from Hannah B. And she left a review titled, "Can't Wait for More," with 5 stars. Thank you, Hannah. She said, Mia, Renee, and her co-host are all so enjoyable to listen to. They are real women who aren't here to BS. They are educated, positive, and seek to make the topic of sex one for listeners to embrace. I'm so happy to see something like this out there and can't wait to hear more. Thanks, Hannah, from all of us.
That's awesome.
Rock on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So leave a rating and review. We may read it online, on air on the show. You can do that by accessing our iTunes, which is always linked below in the show notes. You can find us everywhere: YouTube, iTunes, Podbean, now Google Play. It'll all be linked below. And so you can leave a review and everything. But guys, that's it. And we definitely went over time this time, but you know what? It was a really good show, and we left the listeners, in my opinion, with a good amount of information. So it was really informative, and I'm fine with going over if we kept it informative. So next week's podcast is about blowjobs, and we're gonna have two guys on here to talk about what they like and what they don't like when both girls and guys blow them. So it's gonna be super exciting. You guys ready?
So ready.
So ready to talk about blowjobs. Get ready for some head. All right, guys. See you next week.
I'll go home and practice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we'll go work on that real quick.
Yeah. Come back with some tips and tricks. Talk to your boys. Let me know. All right. We'll see you all next week with some more Sexpert, where we talk about blowjobs. Stay sexy.